Bottom Line. You want a war? You're gonna get one.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Now you wanna get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
Gotta make this quick. Are we live? Do I look in here? I think I look in. Okay, all right. Okay. The football fans are out there. Okay, they're right there through. All right, here we go. This is Kung Pao. Kung Pao. Filling in for Big Daddy Ed. He has no idea this is going down. I told him the show starts in 10 minutes, so he's grabbing a quick bite. Kung Pao has wanted to come on the Bottom Line ever since I saw the Macho Man Randy Savage hijack the show a couple of weeks ago. I don't need to talk like this. I don't need the cream to be rising to the top. I just look at Kung Pao and drink it all in, baby. Check out the hair. It's still flowing at 60. Look at the shades with the built-in night vision. The original 2020 XFL jersey. The only red fire engine cargo shorts that someone like Kung Pao is the only one that can pull it off. And one last thing, check this out, baby. The red Air Jordans right here. Look at those bad boys. Makes you want to strut, baby. Just let's make one thing perfectly clear. Don't even think about stepping on them. You walk in, you're going to limp out. You walk in, you're going to limp out. All right. Let's introduce the Bottom Line crew. In fact, let's get a little music going here. First up, we have Easy-E, who plans on going to the Iowa State game in a couple of weeks as the redheaded stepchild Iowa State fan. But being in the early stages of dementia, he probably won't realize the game's in Iowa City. He'll get to the stadium, walk to his seat, and only as the Macho Man Randy Savage can say it, I'm all by myself. No pukesters helping me to the left. No pukesters helping me to the right. I don't need them. I don't need them now. Oh, yeah. I guess I am in Iowa. I am in the Hawkeye State.
Oh.
All I need is Rocco. Oh, yeah. But that's all I need is Rocco.
Rocco's my man.
Where's Coach Anthony Becht? He's got to be here somewhere. I'm by myself, all by myself. Oh, yeah. I don't need him. I don't need anybody. As everybody knows, he's an alumni of Iowa State. You may ask, why do they always suck? Well, when they recruit players to be a Cyclone, Eazy-E is also known as an alumni, and he takes part in the NIL. So here's what is offered to the recruits. Come play wide receiver for the Cyclones, and I'll throw in 10 free bags of seed corn. How's that for you? Nothing like, how about a combine or tractors or anything like that? Let's just give them bags of seed corn.
It's money.
That speaks for itself. Let's bring him in. Ladies and gentlemen, Eazy-E.
Welcome to the show, everybody. And I apologize for that mess right there.
That's right. Next, we have a guy that's pretty active on social media. He comes to you live each week from his double-wide deer stand. He's kind of a loose cannon, so he finds it necessary to strap himself in, including the shoulder harness. The only guy I know that can do the show, DoorDash, and chew gum at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring in Brett the Hitman Pierce. That's what we got going. We got Brett and we got an Eric. Now, and last but not least, as Eazy-E has said, the bottom line finally found this guy on the 23rd interview for this position. But Chad definitely comes with some baggage. He has an infatuation with Australia. In fact, when he got out of college, he wanted to be a judge. But we found out we already have enough kangaroo courts in this country. We don't need no more. Ain't that the truth? So then he tried out Ultimate Fighting. But he only had one move. And that was... Damn, I damn near brought down the whole house in here with that. And you know what? He loves fantasy football. But I've kicked him out of 3 leagues now. 3 leagues. Because he continues to try and draft players from the Australian Football League. So you know what he ended up doing? Now he had to finally settle for working for a gelatin company in quality control, taste testing Jell-O. He has inspirations of starting his own podcast covering Australian rules football. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring him in. Chad Aussie Dropkick Coyle. Now, to end this thing the right way, we're going to play a game of Guess Who I Am.
Does the shirt stay on?
Jeez, I hope so. He takes that shirt off. We're ending this right now, man.
You tell me who I am right now.
Oh, we just got on YouTube.
Here we go. Who am I, baby? Who am I?
Oh, my God, Rig.
That's a big rig. Coming from you live. Oh, wait. Oh, I hear Big Daddy Ed coming. I gotta go.
Let's click it. Let's click that off until Big Daddy Ed actually gets back. Welcome, everybody, to the bottom line. We'll have to apologize for getting hijacked from Kung Pao, but I love the Iowa State fight song in the background, especially when a big Alabama guy and whatever Chad is, Nebraska Corn Shuckers. Is that the team in Nebraska? It's Corn Shuckers.
Yeah, is that what you say? What's the Iowa State's record against Nebraska?
The only thing I remember is the last time we played Nebraska, we beat them. That's all I remember. See, I'm not like you. I don't go back to like before a lot of the people were born when we were good. I can only go back to the last time we competed, and that was,
Yeah, that's convenient.
Chad, is it true that Cornhuskers fans eat corn the long way?
What the hell happened?
Well, I don't think you understand. Your seat was hijacked, man, by some weird redheaded dude, and he knew all of us.
What
And
the hell's going on around here? I leave my desk. I leave for 1 second.
yeah. You shouldn't wait till the last minute to eat. You should be ready for the show. You should be on time. You should be
I
prepared.
guess. Holy crap.
Jeepers, criminy, man. We want to talk football here, and some redheaded guy in Jordans and red shorts comes on, and all hell breaks loose.
So anyway, Nebraska's 85-18-2 against Iowa State lifetime.
Yeah, but the one game that I remember is the last game that you will forever have to live with, and that is a defeat at the hands of the Cyclones. I don't know what to tell you, dude.
When was that? 2010?
I don't remember. That's bright. I don't know, man. Whenever the last game was.
31-30, Nebraska.
I mean, no, 9-7, bud. 9-7. You guys had like 6 turnovers. Thank you very much.
We do that well. We're really good at that.
Yes, yeah. So, yeah, corn.
85-18-2.
Yeah, live in the past.
We can't even call that a rivalry.
I mean, at least Brett can live in the present with Alabama. He can talk about things they've done.
You're the one started talking
Like,
trash. I'm just
85. I'm giving you.
Brett, what do you think?
Yeah,
Would that be dominance?
The difference is this: Nebraska was paying players under the table. Iowa State was not. Way before it was legal. It's okay. You can admit it now. It's legal now. It's okay. It's all right. You guys were paying.
Of course, you got an Alabama player fan right here. Like,
yeah, I mean, I didn't want to include Alabama because Brett wasn't talking crap. He was just being quiet. So, I mean, but I will tell you this much: we're going to kick off this show. Speaking of not being quiet, I know we're going to have some spirited debate on this one. I'm going to tell you right now, when Prime first came to Colorado, I was into it. I was like, yeah, you know, he's going to rejuvenate that program. He's going to bring it back to life. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. I'm telling you right now, I am tired of the mouth. It's time to put mouth into action. It's time to not be out there like you were almost in the college playoff last year. You were 4-8. Like, it's time to put your, you know, where the rubber meets the road, money where your mouth is type of thing, and just make it happen. So,
are you trying to get banned from the University of Colorado because he doesn't know who you are?
No, what I'm telling you is it's time for him to put up what he's been talking. He made a statement. He goes, if you're not with us at 4-8, you're not with us when we're winning championships. That's a bold statement. It's a bold statement. And you see a lot of things that are coming from players that transferred out and players that have left and da-da-da-da. I don't have any problem with that because not everybody's culture is for everybody. Fine. Get it. I totally understand. But if you're going to be Prime, 4-8 is not Prime. So, Ed, I'm going to turn it over to you. What say you on Coach Prime?
If you were looking for fans of Coach Prime, you're not going to find any bigger fan than this guy right here. But in this case, I think that he is wrong on this one. I think that this reporter, it sounds like it got real personal. Sounds like it even got worse than what we know about or what we'll ever know about. But I think that he just led credence to what the whole story ended up being because he recognized the guy. If he would have just kept the story low key or not, gave him the satisfaction when it happened, but the college coming into the defense of Deion made things 50 times worse. Now you've got people You got fans that are going to his site, reading what he's written about Deion, reading his other stuff. He's become a lot bigger figure now than what he ever would have been, just because Deion decided he had to give the guy attention. So, I mean, Chad, do you agree with that, or do you think he handled it okay, or?
No, I would say I would agree with you that he handled that wrong. I mean, just talk crap back to him or don't say anything at all and just let it go. I mean, he just made this guy his name. But I think Coach Prime is going to do a great job at Colorado. I think he's going to take that team to big time heights and maybe bring it back to where it used to be back in the 80s, 90s. I think he's a fantastic coach. The thing is that he's going to have to be careful of is he's surprisingly enough, his coaching style, I did not expect this from him. He's hardcore old school. He don't put up with any guff from players. Players do what they're told or they don't do. They go to class and they get grades or they don't play and they're gone. He's hard on them boys and he holds them to it. He don't let them play around and do their garbage. He don't put up with any crap at practice. He's pretty old school. And
Chad, I got to stop you there for.
But that, I mean, that's the way you want it, man. That's the way you keep saying that, Eric. But if I would lost Coach Ferentz tomorrow, I'd take Deion Sanders every day of the week and twice on Sundays.
That's who I wanted.
You were talking like Deion Sanders is the Nick Saban. Fake news. Deion Sanders is not a Nick Saban.
I never said that.
No, but you're like, he's disciplined. He expects this. He expects that.
Yeah, he does.
This is exactly.
He does.
But this is exactly where he's not Coach Saban. He cannot coach like Saban.
He's not trying to coach like Saban. He's trying.
But what I'm saying is, there was
Deion
a couple
Sanders.
games. There was a couple games, and I watched almost every Colorado game last year. There was a couple games where Deion Sanders got out coached.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Everybody does.
And it was bad out coached.
So this is his fourth year as a head coach.
But I get that. But what I'm saying is he runs his mouth like he's been doing it for 30 years. I mean,
it's gotten him a long way. Running his mouth has gotten him a long way in life.
Here's the difference
and he backs it up. He's always backed it up.
But here's the difference between.
Here's a comment for you. Colorado will play for the Big 12 championship against Utah, the only two teams that are good.
I'd take a bet on that. I don't, John, come on, man. Come on, man. That's not even close. I'd take a bet on that. But what I'm telling you is this. Player prime time could run his mouth and back it up. Player prime time could do all this, high step, intercept. He could do all that. Because player prime time was in control. Coach prime time is not necessarily in control.
What was that program when he took over? What were they, 1-11 the year before?
They won 4 games.
What was their record the year before? 1-11, right?
I think so.
So he takes over this trash program and he's trying to turn around and build it up. So that's a lot of work, and that's not easy. He's not like he didn't take over Alabama after Nick Saban left. All right,
I 100% agree.
He's taken over a trash can, and he's trying to turn that thing into a Ferrari. And that,
but I'm telling you,
he's not going to do that by being nice and sweet and brushing these kids on the head, saying, it's all right, buddy, we're going to get him next time.
Nobody's going to do that.
But Eric, here's the deal, Eric. If he would have come out last season and just played it out, and he ended up, like Chad said, they had 4 or 5 wins for the season. If he would have just played it out, kept his mouth shut, everybody would have said, well, it's going to take him time. It's going to take him time to turn the program around. But what did he do? When he bumped off TCU in the first week of the season, he sits down and he talks to every reporter in the room And before he would let them even ask a question, they had to tell him whether they believed. And so if you're going to go there and you're going to go from reporter to reporter, the very guys that are going to be up your, you know what, the whole season, good or bad, you make them say to you before they can even ask a question, yes, I believe. Yes, I believe. What do you think is going to happen to some of those reporters when you go on your 6 or 7 game losing streak and now all of a sudden you're not coming in the room and you're not asking everybody if they believe, you know?
But I'm telling you right now, his mouth is only going to be able to carry the narrative so far. It's only going to carry it so far. So I'll ask you, Chad, you brought this up.
1 year.
But all right. But he's already talking championships. He's already talking like, we're going to go in the Big 12. We're going to walk the dog. And he's got other people believing that.
So you'd rather have him say, let's going to go. We're going to be middle of the road.
No.
We're going to be Iowa State. We're going to be middle of the road.
But I will tell you this. I will tell you this. How many times do you see other coaches come out and mouth like that? Nick Saban could have walked out every year and said, listen, we're probably winning the national championship. I don't care what you other bozos are doing. We do things right here in Alabama.
So when they pressed down on that cookie cutter, some of the dough got out. So he's not perfectly cookie cutter for you.
Well, I'm not saying cookie cutter. What I'm saying is that's fine. Listen, when we're still having this debate, in 4 years, when his kids are gone and he's shipping off somewhere else and Colorado's a dumpster fire because they don't recruit
Florida State or Miami in 4 years.
Yeah, right. But why can't you do it at Colorado? Because he knows he can't. He knows he can't do it at Colorado.
Florida State,
Not winning 4 or 5 games a year will he be at Florida State or Miami.
I'm going to let my man.
First year.
Yeah, but you know what's funny about that, Chad?
Their win total.
Here's what's funny about
give him
that.
credit for that.
He's been there 1 year, correct?
They won 4 times as many games as they did the year.
1 year, correct? 1 year. You said that right?
Chad? Tough,
4 times as many wins this year as they did last year.
He's been there 1 year.
Right down the middle here, baby.
He's been there 1 year, but he talks. And he said, I'm telling you, it's going to matter. If he does not get it done, it is going to blow up in his face.
Okay. Well, that's his path. Yeah. That's what he's chosen to do.
Like my daddy used to say, don't let that alligator mouth overrun that hummingbird ass. And right now, Primetime looks like he's got a little hummingbird ass right now.
And Jay has it right here. You know, he's pretty smart. He draws attention to himself.
Yeah,
he's got everybody talking about him. You know, it's almost like a politician.
Got everybody talking about a 4-18.
4-8. Everybody's talking about Colorado.
Yeah, we're spending.
But when you beg for attention, good, bad, or indifferent, you're gonna get it.
You're gonna get it. So when that reporter, I get it. It got personal. I don't agree with that kind of stuff. But when you beg for attention,
I tell you what,
just may get it.
In 4 years, when he's still 4-8 or 3-7, I'll say you were right.
Ooh, that'll be
a good one.
But when he's 10-3, 12-2, and he's taking them to bowl games and getting them ranked, then you got to say I was wrong.
Oh, easy, because I know it's not going to happen.
I'm on Eric's side on this, and I grew up a huge Deion Sanders fan. My first NFL game was in Atlanta. Deion Sanders played a great game. I mean, I like Deion.
Well, Deion's going to be his own worst enemy because what's going to happen? Deion expects perfection. He demands the best out of his players, and you know what? I wouldn't want a coach be any other way than that way. But the problem is that mentally, he's been a winner his whole life. He is not going to be able to handle.
Unless there's another comment that comes on the screen, this comment right here, Jay, You get comment of the night. I don't even need to see another comment, my friend.
Yeah.
What color is the moon on your planet, Chad?
Tom says.
I tell you what, he can be Iowa's coach any day of the week. Any day of the week, I think.
I'm gonna tell you what now, Ed. Yeah.
Don't do that.
I tell you what, the fact that what they end up getting 40-some players out of the portal this year because they pretty much had players walk off the team. Well, do you really want those guys if they're not committed and they want to walk off? Everybody wants to say that it's all Dion. Well,
55 new
when
players.
You're in a program like Chad says that's winning one game a year. These guys are there. They're not playing they're there for the scholarship. They're there for, they're not there for the right reasons. Well, and when he come in and said there's a new sheriff in town and they were going to actually have to perform, they all bolted. That's not on Dion. That says a little bit about them as players.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you're going to not recruit, okay, if you're going to Brett, what'd you say, 86? 86 in the nation, 82, somewhere in there?
Yeah, I think they were 86 in the nation currently in recruiting. Now, keep in mind, he got 55 players last year, commitments, and then he's going to have to be like Lane Kiffin of the West. He's going to have to be the portal king. That's what he's going to have to do.
He said his focus was not freshmen. He said he said my focus is going after experienced players that have played. I don't really care to go and try and recruit guys that have never played and you don't know what you're getting.
But I
can understand that. I just think that's
not necessarily a bad philosophy in today's, with the portal. It's not a bad philosophy.
But
it's not. But it hurts. It's hurt. It's hard.
And what else? What else do you like on a football team, Chad?
Continuity.
Yeah.
Chemistry, continuity. You've got to be an even better coach when you're doing nothing but recycling bodies every single year, and you do not have a lot of continuity within the program to bring those bodies to. Now, with the way society is, how do you know you're not bringing in a bunch of me guys? You can say all you want that he's tough on this, he's tough on that, he's tough on that. But
you don't think he's not looking for a nucleus of dogs? He's looking for a group that he can build around. If that means shuffling the portal, he's going to shuffle the portal.
55 new guys from the portal coming from somewhere else. And you've got to try to gel them. They haven't been there for 2 years. They haven't even been there for 1 year.
That want to play for Deion Sanders?
You got to admit, though, at this time, with all the attention he's brought to Colorado, and their viewership was out of the, every game was an event. There was people going out of their way to watch Colorado last year, and they're 82nd or 86 in recruiting right now. Yeah. That's the one thing that could, I'm a talent guy. I keep up with the recruiting daily, who commits where and all that, and who decommits, who flips, who flops, and that's the one red flag to me right now with Deion is I would have expected him to be top 40, top 30. Is that really asking a lot for someone that's getting all this attention and they're 82nd or in their 80s in recruiting? That's not a good sign.
That's not his focus. His focus isn't freshman. We talked about that.
I wouldn't think that with Deion Sanders' name that he would have to focus a whole lot on recruiting and still be in the top 50. I'm just saying.
I was shocked when I saw him.
When you don't go after freshmen, guess what? You're not going to be very high in the recruitment rankings. That's not his focus.
But it sounds to me like he's wanting to hurry up and win like he did at Jackson State and leave. And not to be disrespectful at all, but this ain't the HBCU anymore. You've got, all these huge, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, USC, Texas, Georgia. You got all these huge programs out there with these huge NIL collectives and all this. And I think it's going to be a lot tougher than what he originally anticipated.
It's going to be interesting. This is a whole new era, and here's a coach with a lot of fame, a lot of notoriety behind him, and he's going to try this new philosophy. It's the antithesis of of Dabo and Nick, and it's totally different. He's pushing aside old school college football, and he's said, oh, this is the way we're going to try it, and this is the way we're going to do it. And if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Well,
But that's
I'm going to tell you.
That's what he's committed to doing.
What I think it's about is this. I don't think he wants to bring in freshmen because I really don't think he wants to coach them. He wants to bring in players from transferring from here, transferring from there. So they've already got the college, which I guess that's fine, but I just feel like he doesn't want to coach them.
You can not like his style and what he's choosing to build this team, but that's how he's choosing to build it. Now, the proof will be in the pudding. Either it's going to be a turd show or it's going to work. It's going to be one or the other.
So
It's going to be middle of the road.
So having said that, I looked at the games this week, and I have Colorado's first game tomorrow night as being one of two trap games that I see. You've got North Dakota State coming to Colorado. North Dakota State is no slouch.
Not even kind of.
So
Giant killers.
Colorado playing at home, 10-point favorites. North Dakota State comes to town. Is all of this a big enough distraction that allows North Dakota State to come in and grab a win?
Oh, can you imagine if North Dakota State goes into Colorado, wins this game?
Gonna be a long season in Boulder if that happens.
I tell you what this could be is he knows that this is a big game and this is the first game of the year, and he's like, I'm gonna have all the focus on me, so the boys are out there and they don't have to worry about they're not having to worry about any of that. Everything, the focus is all on me. All they have to do is go out and play ball. I don't know.
Yeah, you might be right. He has no problem with the focus being on him. There's no question about that.
North Dakota State is tough as nails.
But I'll tell you what, Thursday
they're any given Saturday, that team can go anywhere and scare the bejesus out of anybody.
They're not going to have the talent, but they're going to have the coaching. They are in position. They're fundamentally sound. And I don't know what you mean by wanting attention on Deion on himself and not the players, but when you got all these famous people on the sidelines and rappers coming to the game and the whole, it just to me it was a circus sideshow that they should have lost. And the game I keep going back to is the Colorado State game last year. That was a hell of a game, and actually they had a couple with all these superstars on the sidelines and in the locker room before the game, and that's got to be distracting to the players, right? I mean,
I think
that's not a normal locker room, you know.
The University of Miami's been doing that for years, having 25 Hall of Famers just standing around on the sidelines. I don't know.
Miami hasn't been much for years, so
I got to believe.
I mean, back in the early 2000s, that all those NFL players and Hall of Famers were going back and watching games. I mean, maybe I don't know.
His persona, even though he played at Florida State, and they'll never forgive him if he does this, but his persona going to the U when they've had Snellenberger and Jimmy Johnson and you know they were the bad boys of college football. I mean, Deion would mesh for sure. I don't know how the people in Florida and Tallahassee would take it.
They wouldn't.
So Jay comments, he's drawing attention to his program putting butts in seats. So we got a Thursday night primetime game.
Yep.
Everybody's ready for some football. I got to believe the TV ratings are going to be big for this game.
Yeah.
So let's
back it up.
Let's do this. Let's do our first pick of the week. Let's pick this game, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll start breaking down the top games of the weekend. So let's hear what you got, Eric. Are you taking Colorado or North Dakota State?
Man, I would love, just for the pure theater of it, for North Dakota State to win. But It's at home. They played TCU right out of the gate really well last year. So, I mean, I'll take Colorado, but man, if North Dakota State wins, I cannot wait till the show next week.
What about you, Brett?
I think Colorado's going to pull the game out, but I do not think they're going to pull that 10-point line. I think it's going to be a one-possession game, and it's going to get hairy there, but I think they will out-talent North Dakota State.
Chad?
I think I got Colorado. I think they're going to cover the spread. I think they're going to come out. I think North Dakota State is going to put the fear of God in them, and I think they're going to pull it out, and they're going to win by 10 or more.
So we got a clean sweep there. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we will cover Clemson and Georgia. And we are back. So we're going to go. We're the next game up on docket Saturday at 11 o'clock in the morning on ABC. We got number 14 Clemson going into number 1 Georgia. So I'll give Brett first shot at this one because his second favorite team is probably Georgia behind Alabama.
Yeah, I love the fans barking like dogs. It's something I look forward to every time I see them play. And by the way, Georgia, you'll never be the standard. But let's get to the pick. I think Dabo is in a lot of trouble, and this could very easily be, if not his last season, they're definitely headed in the wrong direction. Dabo is not a big believer at all in the NIL or the portal, and it has really started to come back and haunt him. He lost a 4-star commitment last week to Duke. To the Duke Blue Devils. And, I love Dabo. He came to school here at Alabama. He won national championship with Gene Stallings in '92. He's got tons of friends around the area. He's a really good guy. But Georgia's got some question marks on both lines of scrimmage. I know they, think they replenish every year just like Alabama. But Georgia's way too much here. I would be extremely surprised if they don't cover the 13.5. Georgia by 24. Easy.
Eric?
If I was a betting man, and I just happen to be, I am taking the over. I am shocked because I have Clemson as one of my teams that I feel like, they're in the top 25. They're 14. I think they're definitely overrated.
Yeah.
Not that I don't think Dabo Swinney's a good coach, but his approach to, like you said, NIL and those types of things, it's just not going to work with today's kids. And it's unbelievable. I don't think Clemson, I could see Clemson, even though the ACC maybe not being as good as the other conferences, but I think Clemson's in deep, deep trouble here. With Carson Beck at quarterback for Georgia, telling you, I think it's going to be, it might even be more than 24. I'm definitely taking Georgia, and I'm taking the over for dang sure. Take the over. It's good money.
Okay,
take the over.
Yeah, I this is getting boring here. I go with Georgia also. I mean, Dabo's refusal to embrace the inevitable is it's not a smart move. I mean, you might not like it, but you either have to step up and do it, or you got to do like Nick did and just tip your hat and say thanks for everything and have a good one and walk away. Go sit on a TV set and talk, because it's not going to go well. It's gonna be his downfall. But I got Georgia probably winning pretty handily. Maybe Clemson will be able to muster up some pride and first game of the season going to Athens, but it gets rough down there between the hedges, man.
Well, I would say
They're in Atlanta at the Mercedes.
Oh, it's in Atlanta.
No, but I mean, hell, that is 90% of the crowd will be Georgia fans. Yeah. I mean,
a lot of barking.
Clemson travels well, but look, Georgia, when Georgia plays Alabama every year in Atlanta for the SEC championship game, it's a 60-40 crowd. So they'll have at least 70% of the crowd Saturday.
Well, what Georgia is today is what Clemson was a few years back. I mean, Clemson and Alabama, you could pretty much one or the other every year there for a while. And Clemson's starting to fall off big time. So you might be saying this year the beginning of the end for Clemson. Falling from grace, I have a feeling. Although the way the conferences are realigning, if Clemson goes down, I got to believe ACC is in real trouble.
Yeah.
Between them and Florida State, what Florida State showed us Saturday, ACC might have a very long season.
We'll touch on Florida State in just a little while, but holy buckets, that was ugly.
So what kind of comment is this? When have I ever mentioned Mississippi State, for Christ's sake?
Hey, you know what? I've never heard you mention Mississippi State.
Marty up to that comment?
But
I had nothing to do with that, Ed.
Marty got his comment on the show, man. It doesn't matter. It's Deion Sanders. He got some attention, baby. See?
Okay, so
Marty said, I'll show you prime time.
well, let's move on to the next game. So far, we got a clean sweep for Colorado, a clean sweep for Georgia. Saturday, 11 o'clock, Fox. We got number 8 Penn State at West Virginia. Penn State's an 8-point road favorite. Who's the Big Ten who wants to take that one? Chad, you want to start off?
Yeah, Penn State. Even though they got to travel down to Morgantown.
Well, I tell you what, John's thinking every game's going to be a blowout.
Yeah, I think that's fake news, John.
I hope not.
Fake news. Fake news.
I hope we got a bunch of good games this weekend.
Penn State travels okay. Got to go down to West Virginia. Those Mountaineers, they might put up a fight, but Penn State's going to win, and it's going to be a lot more than 8.
Penn State has kind of been the 1A, 2A of the Big Ten. They've just never been able – they've always been a quality team, but they've just never been able to crack the Ohio State, Michigan layer. They've always had a good record, always had a good bowl, but they – this year with 12 teams in the playoffs, I'm sure Penn State's looking for a lot more. You would have to think that, do they pull a Florida State and let the first game of the season get away from them? I don't know about that. What do you think, Eric?
I think if I was betting on this, I would bet West Virginia to cover. West Virginia is better than you think. They are better than you think.
That was another Big 12 homer talk going on.
No, I'm not homered at all. West Virginia is better than you think. I think Penn State squeaks this game out, this is not going to be a 25-point game. I don't believe that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I do not believe this is going to be a 25-point game. They're going into West Virginia. They're going into Morgantown. I'm telling you right now, that's a tough place to play. And West Virginia is going to be ready. They're trying to make just as much of a statement too. If Penn State loses this game, it's going to be just as bad as a Florida State loss. It's going to be bad. So I think Penn State squeaks one out in Morgantown, but West Virginia covers. What do you got, Brett?
You pretty much stole my thunder. West Virginia, Morgantown's a tough place to play. You know, they'll have John Denver on the loudspeaker. They'll have a little alcohol in all the fans, even though it's an early start. I wouldn't say they need to throw the couches out and go ahead and light them on fire, but I think Penn State is just, why they haven't been able to get over the Ohio State and the Michigan is they just don't have enough offense. They just don't, and it's year in, year out. I mean, there's nothing that's going to change this year. I think Penn State probably up 10, 13 points late, and with West Virginia's kind of high-powered offense, I think they score a late touchdown, make it real close, but Penn State does squeak out the W.
Did you make your pick, Chad? Did you take Penn State?
He took Penn State by more than 8.
Yeah,
more than 8.
Boy, I can't wait till we get into week 2 so we actually have some matchups. We're agreeing way too much.
Right.
Next game, Saturday, 2:30 on ABC. ABC's got like a monster lineup this weekend.
They do. They got a lot of good games.
ABC's got the Clemson, Georgia game. They got the Miami, Florida game. They got the Notre Dame, Texas A&M Saturday night game. They got the Sunday night game, a USC against LSU. NBC's got to be licking their wounds that they got the U.S. Open tennis tournament. Huh?
Yeah.
So Saturday, 2:30 on ABC, we got number 19 Miami, a 2.5-point favorite at Florida. The only thing I will say is, I think if you guys remember when we covered Florida a couple weeks ago when we was doing the SEC and we looked at schedules, Florida's got like a killer last game, 6 games of the season.
Brutal.
And so they got to stack wins early in the season or it's going to be a long one for them. So here we go. Miami coming into Florida. Now, Miami's had a lot of hope the last few years. They've always had expectations, and I don't know that they've quite lived up to what they were hoping.
This is what happens to Miami's expectations every year.
Yeah.
Every year.
It's kind of like this, actually.
Yeah. The price is wrong, baby. That's what happened.
So then you look at it and you think, are things going to be different this year for Miami? Well, I guess we'll find out this week. There you go, Brett. Another SEC matchup with Florida.
Well, I've thought about this one, and once again, you kind of stole my thunder. Florida. I'm taking Florida to win this one. I wouldn't call it an upset. It's in the swamp. There'll be 85, 89,000, whatever the capacity is there. It's going to be a wild game. It's a game Florida's got to win. They have to win. They're pretty healthy right now from what I gather. They haven't really lost anyone in fall practice. And Sunbelt Billy, as us Florida haters call him, Billy Napier, this is a must win. Go back and look at their last 6 games. Anyone that's watching this that watches it later, go back and look at Florida's last 6 games. They have to win this game.
Yeah.
And Mario Cristobal, he's another Saban tree guy. You know, he coached here for 1 year offensive line, and Went to Oregon, did a solid job there. I really was surprised that Miami, even though he played at Miami back in the day, snatched him up so quick because I really didn't think he was proving a whole lot in Eugene. Has Miami won any of these games recently that were kind of toss-up games that they really needed to win to prove that they were headed back to the U? No. Florida by a touchdown in the Swamp.
Eric?
I'll just go real quick. I 100% agree. I think this is a must-win for Florida. It's in the Swamp. If they don't sell out and they don't stick it to Miami, it's going to be another long season in Florida. So
Napier won't make it through the end of the year. I don't think he'll make it through the end of the year with that schedule if he doesn't win his first 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, you're right. They got to stack up some wins at the beginning because, like I said, a couple weeks ago, we went through the SEC. That schedule on the back end is real tough. In Florida, since the Spurrier days, they've kind of lost their way, and it's going to be real tough to get it back on the rails with the schedule that they're running. But you got to beat Miami. You got to beat Miami at home. You got to hold serve at home. Especially in the opening match here. So I'm going to go. It's going to be Florida by a 3-6 range, I think, but they have to win it. They have to win this game. Unlike Florida State coughing it up to Georgia Tech, Florida's got to win this game.
I think, Chad, are you gonna break the mold here?
The U. This is going to be the start of the first leg of winning the Florida Triple Crown. They're gonna beat Florida. Miami's going to win, and then they're going to come down and later in the season they're going to beat Florida State, and they're going to be the big dogs of Florida. Maybe I don't know. They're not necessarily going to return to the Miami of old, but
That's pretty bold, Cotton. That's pretty bold, Cotton.
So
they're going to beat Florida and beat Florida State. Maybe, I don't know.
Chad and I are actually on the same page here.
What's that?
No, I think you and I are on the same page here. I listened to a press conference with the Florida coach today, and he had about as much energy as a $2 bill. There just was nothing there. I come out of the press conference thinking, who's going to run through a wall for this guy?
He was a hot name when Florida got him too. He was a hot name.
Bill Belichick, man. Don't worry about it.
I'm taking Miami. I'm with Chad. So let's go to the next game. Saturday night, 6:30 ABC. Number 7 Notre Dame goes into number 20 Texas A&M, where Texas A&M, they're 3-point favorites. Who wants to go first on this bad boy?
Go ahead, Brett. There's an
okay,
SEC. Go ahead, man.
College Station. It's probably, I think their capacity's 105,000 now, 107,000. Home of the 12th man. They're getting warmed up down in College Station as we speak. It's a very, very, very tough environment to play in. They renovated that whole stadium, redid everything a few years ago. The stands are right on top of the field, basically. Notre Dame's bringing in another transfer quarterback. The kid that didn't play much last year got injured, and that was it. I think 2 games in. It really is kind of a toss-up game. I just don't know how Notre Dame can overcome that crowd. I think Notre Dame will have another solid season, but opening day, a lot of new transfers and things like that going to College Station. The pass rush for Texas A&M this year is going to be a bit of a problem for some teams. I'm going to take Texas A&M in probably the game of the weekend. This should be, I might be wrong, this should be the best game of the weekend. Kind of like Georgia Tech, Florida State last week. I think this is going to go back and forth, and it's going to be a game you're not going to want to miss if you're a college football fan.
John takes Notre Dame by 10. Jay takes A&M winning the nail biter by 1 point. What do you think, Chad?
Well, what I'd like to happen is Notre Dame takes another butt whooping, because I just am tired of Notre Dame's arrogance that I can't wait for them to get the humble pie when all the conferences, when all this all gets crunched out, and they're finally going to have to join a conference and join the 21st century of football, college football. And I hope this is just another nail in their arrogance coffin and just bury them. But College Station is hard to go to. I think that Notre Dame, they're going to do what they've been doing. I think they're just going to choke it away, and Texas A&M is going to sneak it out.
Yeah, I don't see Notre Dame coming out of this with a win. I think the atmosphere, primetime Saturday night game, I think College Station is just going to be unreal. And
tough place to play.
Yeah,
very underrated.
So I'll take Texas A&M. What about you, Eric?
I'm going to finish with a sweep. I think Texas A&M is going to be the more physical team. I think they're going to hit Notre Dame in the mouth, and Notre Dame's going to go, wow, this is not going to be our day. And then you add in the 12th man at College Station there. Give me A&M, and I don't know. I hope it's a great game. I hope Brett's right, but I think A&M is gonna out physical them, and it's gonna be a tough one for Notre Dame to walk out with a W. So give me A&M, and A&M's gonna cover 3. I mean that's basically a you're at home spread. So I think A&M covers that easy.
So we've got 2 more games to cover in college, and then we are going to get into some UFL news. But let's go ahead and bring in the second hour. We'll be right back.
And that's the bottom line. You want a war? You're gonna get one.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
Back for hour 2. The next game we have Sunday night game on ABC. 6:30. Number 23 USC goes into number 13 LSU, where LSU is a 4-point favorite.
Is it that close? I mean,
oh my God! So
keep in mind, LSU no longer has Jaden Daniels, and this is not in Baton Rouge. It's in Vegas at Allegiant Stadium, Raider Stadium, whatever you want to call it. Man, this is hey, it's look at these two programs, LSU and USC. This is the way you should start the season. Look at the history with these two. I mean, it's going to be. I'd love to be in Vegas for this one. Ultimately, look, Riley, I think here is the name you need to mention. With USC, he still hasn't figured out that defense can still win championships, and that you still have to have a defense to go along with all that offense. I think LSU is way too big, way too strong, way too physical, and just as fast, if not faster. They have got the athletes. LSU's problem last year was definitely on the defensive side of the ball. They had a playoff offense. There's no doubt about it. With Daniels, winning the Heisman, and just if Dallas Turner don't knock him out of the game at Bryant-Denny Stadium, that could have ended differently. But they have got a new defensive coordinator. They've got a guy with a name and a reputation. And like I said, from top to bottom, they've had top 6, top 7, top 5 recruiting classes every year since Kelly's been there. They're just too loaded. And this is a game here where I've been a betting man before, but this is a game right here that could really get ugly, in my opinion. I think LSU still doesn't have a Georgia or Alabama defense, but they're going to be very much improved. And they just too much. I would take LSU by 20 in this one.
So Coach Riley brought in a new defensive coordinator for USC. I think this is going to end up being a pivotal season for him, because I think he's underachieved so far at USC. I think his record has just not been good enough. So now I kind of look at this the same way I looked at it when Nebraska, when it came into the Big Ten, is USC, I don't think, knows what they're in for. It's one thing to play the same old teams in the Pac-10, but now they're coming into a full season of playing a lot of games that they really don't have the secret sauce on a lot of these teams.
They don't have the personnel up front. Offensive line and defensive line, they're going to have a long season.
So I think USC is looking at a 6-6, maybe a 7-5. And is that good enough for Riley to stay at USC? I don't know.
He better fix the personnel quick, just like Texas A&M and Missouri figured out when they got in the SEC. We play a different brand of football here. It's still won at the lines of scrimmage. And ask any guys that was involved with the Texas A&M or Missouri program the first 2 or 3 years. It didn't take them long to figure out we've got to fix our lines and get bigger, stronger guys, or we're just going to get mauled.
100% correct. I don't see how. I don't see how USC plays that close to LSU in this situation. I just don't. I hate to bag on Vegas for this, but I don't see a 4-point spread. I see LSU. Yeah. I see LSU
make some money on this one. You can make some money.
I see LSU doing similar things to what I believe Texas A&M is going to do to Notre Dame. They're going to come out. They're going to be more physical. They're going to get after them from the word go. And as you mentioned, Brett, the SEC plays a different style of football. USC, I think, is going to have to learn how to play Big Ten football.
Yeah,
and
SEC plays very similar style on those lines of scrimmage, and they are not ready for that.
Yeah, and I think this could be. I think this has the makings of being a real bad day for USC, but we'll see. I'm taking LSU, and I'm taking them to cover pretty easy.
Brett, do you know anything about the new LSU quarterback taking over for Daniels?
Man, they've got a couple guys. They've got a couple guys. They've wide receiver as well. You don't even being an SEC guy like I am, you don't even have to pay attention to the guys that they rotate in and out down at that school. Louisiana's a hotbed. They recruit very well in the Houston area. I want to say they finished 4th, 5th, 6th in recruiting again last year. Yeah, they are, and if they shore up that defense, LSU is one of the teams I mentioned I thought would have a real good shot at the playoffs this year. And they could absolutely. I mean, it was. I always enjoy watching the late games. The USCs and the UCLAs and things like that. But they don't have a clue how to play physical, tough football nor defense. The best defender they had the last 2 years at USC was a second-string linebacker from Alabama, and he was head and shoulders better than anyone they had on that side of the ball. They could they could reincarnate Buddy Ryan to coach that side of the ball with USC. Riley does a terrible job in my eyes in recruiting on the defensive side of the ball. He's always ignored it, very similar to how Jimbo Fisher was, and it finally caught up to him. With Florida State going down, and then at A&M, guys, you got to have a defense. And I'm gonna tell you what, I'm about to talk myself into loading up and I'll put Ed's house on this one. LSU's big, Ed, big.
I tell you what,
big.
I'm advertising for a quarterback if anybody's watching.
Why? Cade McNamara was named the starter. You're good, bud.
He's not a starter, but I don't see him in the top 10 list of quarterbacks here.
Yeah, because I don't have the top.
You don't see him in the top 50 either.
Yeah. I didn't have time to put the top 100 up there, man.
Is if our head coach is going to take a 1-game suspension for tampering,
he better be good.
I think McNamara's got more than what you think. So look out, baby.
I hope so.
I mean, whatever. We'll call it.
I'm pulling for you, Ed. I'm pulling for you, baby.
I'm not, but.
So what do you got, Chad? You got anything?
well, I think all this, we're all going way too chalk with all these picks, and there's got to be something upsetty somewhere, because all of these favorites can't win. So I tell you what, I'll step out and say SC is going to go in to Baton Rouge.
This is a bad upset, bro. This is
Vegas. It's in Vegas.
Oh, it's in Vegas? Even
Vegas,
better.
Allegiant
It's
Stadium.
even better. It's even better. That means the fellas are seeing where all the money is, and they're going to take care of LSU. USC wins this thing.
They don't build those casinos because they lose money, that's for sure. But LSU better not lose this one with their SEC schedule.
We're just going way too chalk. Everything we're just.
No, I'm with
you. Every game, and
I think Vegas gonna get hurt on this one.
I think so too, but I might be crazy. Who you got, Ed?
So I got LSU all the way. I don't even think it's going to be close. Riley might have the ball bounce the right way at the beginning of the game, and they might go up 7-0. Hell, they might go up 14-0 because of their offense. But as the game goes on and they get settled in, I just think LSU will just overpower them. So I got LSU by at least 14 when it's all said and done. So that brings us to our final game, which I labeled as the second trap game of the week. You take Oklahoma State, ranked 17th in the nation, playing a home game
Jackrabbits
against the South Dakota State Jackrabbits, and they've only got Oklahoma State as a 9.5-point favorite. So what are they telling you? They've either got a hell of a lot of respect for South Dakota State coming in there and making some noise, or they ain't quite sold on Oklahoma State. Which is it, guys?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, South Dakota State is, they're not the kind of team, just like we talked about North Dakota State before. They're not the kind of team that I guess you want to use a springboard to get your season going.
Yeah.
John takes Oklahoma by 5. Oklahoma State, I should say. Anyway, I had a good friend in college back in the day, back in the early 80s.
You used to drive your
I
Model
used
T
to
up
go
there?
watch. I used to watch South Dakota play. You know, in fact, I can't even describe to you. Let's go back to the good old days. See, I even had hair. See the hair?
Oh, jeez.
Can you see the hair on the 3-wheel? That's hot stuff there, baby. Anyway, the Jackrabbits were atrocious. And so, you know, where have I been that South Dakota State has turned into what they've turned in now? And you talk about, you know, Oklahoma State's usually a pretty good home team. And they're always respectable pretty much every year. So to be single-digit favorite against South Dakota State going into Oklahoma City, that's a lot of respect for South Dakota.
I'm taking South Dakota to cover. That's going to be a tight game. That's going to be a pucker game, I believe. Give me South Dakota to cover. I'm not saying Oklahoma State
Cowboys by 14. John says Cowboys by 5. What do you think, Chad?
I tell you what, I think Eric's on it. I think these South Dakota State kids, they're a bunch of fantastic players that just got snubbed by all of these programs, and they're going to go down there motivated as hell, and Oklahoma State's going to be like, we're just going to play. Who is it? The Jackrabbits?
Yeah.
And I think South Dakota State's going to come in there and shock the shit out of them. Will they upset? Yeah, they will. They're going to fucking upset. They're going to do it.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Jackrabbits.
Oh, again.
For the win.
Chad.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Had to get a few.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Good God.
I'm going to do
Just
it.
takes it a little bit too far, doesn't it? Just a
So
little
you're taking the
too
Jacks, huh?
Yep.
Hey, once again, it was not me.
far. Yeah, right.
Thank you, Chad.
Shockingly.
I got you, Brett. I got you, bro.
He's the man. He's the man.
So, Brett, what do you got?
Man, I'm gonna tell you what. This is those kids' Super Bowl, like he mentioned. They're very good, very well coached team, and he might be a man, and he might be 40, but Gundy is known to lay a lot of eggs early in the season. And what's the motivation for Oklahoma State to play this team? I'm going to tell you what, there's no way, in my opinion, that the South Dakota State is not going to cover the spread. I don't know if I'm going to go
This is not Northeast, Northwest, Utah State.
No,
Yeah.
I know.
It's crazy.
I keep seeing them scoring at the end of the game and the team running out on the field and going wild. And there's, Gundy with his mullet and all, and I'm going to take them in the upset as well.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh,
It's kind of strange because
right there, Brett.
I'm not so bold. I think it's going to be a single-digit win, but I got Oklahoma State still pulling out the victory. What do you got, Eric?
I'm taking South Dakota State.
wow.
I'm doing it.
Wow.
I think again, they're going to cover. I just really believe they're going to cover.
Right.
But
I'm
with you, Chad. I'm with you. I'm with my boy down here, right there. I'm gonna take him to upset. Yeah, right there.
Hey, I took the upset
I'm
too.
the only one. I'm the only one.
And Brett. I mean, talk about going chalk. Here's that. I'll take Oklahoma State, I guess. I mean, it's going to be a close one. I mean,
I can just see them scoring at the end of the game, and winning the game.
Yeah. I mean, here's Ed. I'll take Oklahoma State in a close. And Brett's like, I just got a premonition They're going to score late. Kids are running up.
I know how you ding dongs work.
Like Brett's like, call the Ghostbusters.
During the UFL season, all I had to listen to was Eric clamoring the whole season about how great his picks were.
Top dog.
You go ahead and make those picks. And
Top dog, buddy.
Next week when we have our show and we start reviewing that game, I'm just going to go.
Top dog. Can you dig it?
So
I still got CT. I think I got CTE from last season, UFL season. Mr. Spring Football here, and I was just taking it.
You guys
now we
down
brought
there
you
in
on the
Alabama.
show as the UFL guru.
Yeah.
And we had to try and prop you up just to keep you at 500.
I picked you up and just went, get out of here, young man. Get out of here.
I mean, I was done week 1. I mean,
So anyway,
one week I went 0-4. Like,
speaking of the UFL, let's turn the page and get into a UFL update. Whenever we have a UFL update, we can kind of all, go take a crap and get something to eat or whatever, because you turn it over to Brett. Brett can talk for hours on the UFL. So take it away, Brett. This is the official UFL update. A lot of going on this week.
And we are just going to turn it over to Brett. It's all you, Brett.
The Memphis Showboats have re-signed quite a few of their roster this week, and it is still known that they do not have a head coach or a GM in place. They're sending out letters of intent. There's really a lot of gray area here on who's making these decisions, if it's the league or who's responsible for re-signing a lot of these players that got released by NFL camps or whatever. But right now, again, Memphis Showboats do not have a GM or a head coach. Jake Bates, Mr. Leg himself from the Michigan Panthers, did end up becoming the Detroit Lions starting field goal kicker. He made the team. There was a gentleman also that was signed, a defensive lineman that was with the Renegades, Arlington Renegades, and they are now on Edge team, the Minnesota Vikings. Those were the two guys that made the active rosters. There was 14 other gentlemen that were released that ended up signing on practice squads today. Some of the old names you might hear, Donald Parham, that played for the Arlington Renegades in 2020 XFL. He's been with the NFL 4 years now. With the Chargers, they actually released him. And wow, he actually had some decent showings there in Los Angeles. I was kind of surprised that he got released. He's a athletic specimen. He's 6'7". Also PJ Walker from XFL 2020. Houston Roughnecks, the 5-0 Roughnecks, when COVID shut it down or whatever. I don't know if you're allowed to say that yet or not. He's been, with the Carolina Panthers, he's been in the league 4 years. He just got released. So will these guys come back to the league moving forward? Another guy that I really thought would make a roster this go around, Sal Cannella. He got released again, I believe, by the Tampa Bay Bucks. Does he go back to the Arlington Renegades? Does PJ Walker come back? Another interesting move by the Chargers. The rumor was that Perez, Mr. Spring Football himself, was going to make the Chargers roster. They cut him yesterday, leaving them with two guys left. 2 quarterbacks. That's it. And guess what? They then go and trade a 6th-round pick with the Atlanta Falcons and take on Taylor Heineke, the ex-backup for the XFL 2020 St. Louis Battlehawks. Also, Martinez, the league MVP that was released by the Jets, helped Birmingham win their 3rd straight championship, first in the UFL. He gets released yesterday, and they have signed him to the practice squad. Overall, again, there's 14 guys that were signed to the practice squad. Dontre Tillman, one of our sack guys out of Birmingham, did end up getting released from the Broncos. There was a lot of rumors that he would make the squad. He did not, but they did sign him as a practice squad player, along with Martavius Bryant, ex-Vegas Viper. It's been, 7 years since he got in the league. He scored a touchdown in his last spring football game in Washington, gets released. So many questions on are these guys coming back to the league next year? Sam Hartman from Notre Dame with the college draft. You know that Birmingham drafted him. A lot of these teams drafted a lot of borderline guys. And will Hartman end up in Birmingham now that he has been released and nobody picked him up and put him on a practice squad? So a lot of stuff that's going to be going on between now and the end of September. I know I'm forgetting some stuff, some players. I apologize. But again, 16 total from the UFL last year are currently on NFL rosters or practice squads. So that's great news. And I'm hearing that. What's that?
We had Lucky Jackson.
Lucky Jackson
was waived by the Vikings, but he was signed to the practice squad the next day. So
yep,
he will remain with Minnesota. You had
ex-DC defender, right?
Yeah. And he had Lakel London that was signed last year by the Atlanta Falcons. He was re-signed, so he's still a Falcon. Chris Blair was also signed by the Falcons again. So I think you're starting to see some of these more and more players kind of take hold in the NFL. So as they Hakeem Butler, Jay asked about Hakeem Butler. He was waived by the Cincinnati Bengals.
Right.
My guess is some of these guys like Hakeem Butler, I think they've kind of ran their opportunities are probably going to start going away. So Hakeem Butler, I see him returning to the Battlehawks. Ja'Cour Pearson, they've already signed him back. You've also
you wonder again, or
Darius Shepard. Darius Shepard's probably back with the Battlehawks. So you're starting to see. There's a pretty good nucleus of all the teams in the UFL that are starting to gain a little traction as far as their rosters are concerned. The year over year, I know they signed James Bostic, the Battlehawks did, to their wide receiving core. He made it up to the final cut this last year, but he's a young receiver that's very fast, got a lot of speed. They signed him back. So, again, the Battlehawks' biggest thing is they've got to improve their quarterback room. So what that means, I don't know. But as we talk about the King of Spring, I've been one of those guys that's been pretty hard on Luis Perez because for 2 years in a row, he played for the Vegas Vipers 2 years ago. And Vegas Vipers stunk it up, and they traded him to Arlington Renegades just in enough time for the Renegades to get in as a 500 team, and they end up catching lightning in a bottle, winning the championship. The following year with the Renegades from the beginning of the season, what'd they start, 0-7 before they actually got a win? And so,
I think they lost 3 straight games.
As much as they want to talk about Perez as being all that, being the GOAT of spring football, can we give it a rest? Because how many times now has he had a shot at the NFL and he hasn't been signed? He keeps getting waived. So if he wants to be the king of spring and you guys want to label him the king of spring, go right ahead. He may be the king of spring, but he's never going to be more than the UFL, because what is he? Is he in his 30s yet? He's got to be getting Mother Time's got to be catching up with him.
Yeah. So, I wonder if he's not coming back next season. Wonder if Darnold Parham's going to come back. PJ Walker. There's so many question marks there. Matt Corral. Will he come back to the UFL? There's a lot of the quarterbacks, a lot of talented quarterbacks that's out there right now that we could have a for the first time in spring football since it started back in 2019. We could have a bunch of deep quarterback rooms.
Well, Eric, I got to bring you back in here.
Yeah.
Because as we talk about Mr. Perez, we can talk about the fact that you and I might get the inside scoop on old Luis Perez because we're going to be spending a little time with the offensive coordinator of the the Arlington Renegades. You and I got a little engagement coming up with
we do.
Mr. Chuck Long. You wanna talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, actually, in my hometown, we've got a little golf tournament going on, and I mean, clearly, I'm a close personal friend with somebody who's on the Iowa Hawkeye Mount Rushmore. He's going to actually be riding in a golf cart with Ed, golfing on Ed's team, and they're going to be getting slapped around by my team opposite of him, probably with a bunch of Iowa State Cyclone stuff on after we spanked the Hawkeyes the day before. And we're just going to have a real great day. Just a great day.
I wouldn't be so sure about that, Eric, because what are we doing? We're doing 8-inch cups?
Yeah. So the cups are like that big.
No, this is 8 inches right here. So
I don't know what 8 inches you're looking at. I know what 8 inches you're referring to, but I don't know what 8 inches you're looking at.
But anyway.
Jesus. Whoa, Chad's not even on right now. Chad's not even on right now.
Some woman is going to watch this video and they're going to say, damn, guys don't know how to measure anything.
I got your 8 inches right here, baby. Right here.
So I don't know, but if I was a betting man, I would say that there's probably a pretty good shot that old Mr. Chuck Long is going to be a guest of the Bottom Line show, probably in a couple weeks here, and it's going to be pretty awesome. Brett, you'll be able to just ask away on UFL news. So
I had about a 2-hour conversation with him, and I think it was just all UFL, and he's all in, obviously, but it was just a great conversation. So it'll be a good time.
Man, I love it. I love the league. Spring football is just, I don't know. And it's finally, it's nice to see it's getting some legs under it,
See, Jay's firmly in my court. firmly in my court.
Yeah, completely.
So you got anything else, Brett, or should we move on to the next thing?
Really it for now. I hate that I've missed a few names, but one gentleman got let go. It was I can't remember the NFL team that signed him. He was a linebacker with the Brahmas, and you expected him to come, right back to the UFL. Well, the Hamilton Tiger Cats of the CFL, which is having a dreadful season, he signed with them yesterday. So,
did you hear anything on Ben DiNucci? Did he stick or did he get waived?
I think Ben DiNucci is still on a roster. I do not believe he got released. Good for him. He comes to the XFL 2022, does a good job in Seattle, and he's still in the league. That's their goal. So
So Matt Corral gets cut by the Vikings.
What about Magoo? You remember Magoo that won the USFL Player of the Year award with Birmingham the year before? He was with the Packers, and then for one season, and then they moved him to wide receiver, and now he's teamless. Does he come back to spring football? Does he get on a practice squad somewhere else? As far as I know a lot of the Stallions fans talk and communicate with relatives of his and things like that, and I believe his mom's a member of our Stallions group. Does there's going to be a lot of available quarterbacks next spring.
Look at this, Eric. Jay paid $887 for season tickets for the Stallions. That's getting up there in St. Louis Battlehawk range there.
I think Jay got them all inclusive tickets that me and my buddy Marty got last year, and I'll tell you what, great food. I'm a soft drink guy, obviously. That's why I'm overweight. I don't drink, but there's all kinds of beer for free. That's part of the deal. All inclusive is the way to go.
So, do you think Matt Corral goes back to Birmingham, or do you think Matt Corral might end up with a different team like
St. Louis? St. Louis?
What does Hartman do? Because see, we drafted Hartman in the college draft. The guy from Notre Dame, and he did not make a squad. So technically, Birmingham has the rights to him. Does he come on and play spring football? Then Corral, like you said, and then Magoo is without a team right now. Adrian Martinez is on the practice squad, but those are three potential Birmingham or UFL quarterbacks. Birmingham's already signed Jamar, so we've already got one. So one of those three is definitely going to end up on another squad.
Man, Brett, I don't know if
I'm chunky.
Russell, I think a more appropriate word is husky. More appropriate word is
more politically correct in this time and this day and time.
Right. Yeah. I can't believe Chad came up with that because we got to constantly censor him. But the proper word is husky.
Big bone.
Speaking of which, you guys, Ed, you don't know how to measure anything. That was 9 inches. If it was
9.
That was 9 inches.
I was trying to play middle of the road here.
Yeah, that's 9 inches. I'll get my wife in here.
Hey, if Ed goes fishing, that fish is huge by the time that story gets told.
I got a fish story for you. That's all I have to say. So let's turn to another subject, Eric. Let's get back into the NFL. We got plenty of stories to talk about in the NFL. What do we want to start with? Do we want to start with surprising cuts, or do we want to go into the Pittsburgh talk?
I think we jump right into this. I mean, let's just be honest here. I mean, Russell Wilson gets named QB1 to Pittsburgh. For Pittsburgh, okay. Many would argue that Justin Fields had a better spring. Probably not wrong. But as a Bears fan, I look at that and I say, man, you have a Russell Wilson who is a shell of himself, who cannot get away from pressure, who takes sacks, unneeded sacks, seems to have lost a step on his delivery a little bit. And that's your guy. So what that tells me is this. The Bears fans who thought getting rid of Justin Fields was a mistake, told you so. It was not a mistake. And the second thing is, I mean, are we putting bets down on the bottom line right now? How long before Pittsburgh has had enough of Russell Wilson where they're actually willing to go to Justin Fields?
Week 3.
I guarantee you.
First of all, this was a political move. They had to.
Hey, Chad, it looks like the Bears licking the top of your head. Would you kind of sit up a little bit, dude?
The crowd.
The whole time you're on the show, the Bears like.
The crowd. So, this is a political move. I mean, Russell Wilson, as we've all discovered, is a giant pustular cancer in the locker room. And so they've got to try and shut him up for a little bit. They're going to give him a chance, and he's going to screw it all up, and then Justin's going to go in there and take him to the playoffs.
I guarantee you, Pittsburgh's offense.
Playoffs?
Are we talking playoffs? Are we talking about practice?
Pittsburgh's offense, they're going to be totally relying on their defense to keep them in games. And I guarantee you, the first time Russell Wilson has a chance to take them on a game-winning drive to win a game, and he doesn't do it, there is gonna be the chant of Justin Fields going crazy in that stadium.
This is what I think of. I'm going to send this to you, Chad.
Oh, geez, here we go.
When you say that Justin Fields is leading them to the
That's
playoffs, you are getting the clown mask.
That's adorable.
We should have went to interview number 24 after making a statement like that. I mean, seriously.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, if Justin Fields comes in week, I don't know, I saw week 2. Russell says week 2. Jay says
week 3.
If he comes in week 3 or week 4 and he leads them to the playoffs, I will eat this thing.
Okay.
Piece
You
by
better be
piece.
careful. You're telling your uncle that he needs to burn a jersey, his precious jersey, because he got to pay off on a bet. You're gonna have to. You better get some nice sauce. Maybe.
But hold on. Did either one of them
cram that on down?
Did either one of them score a touchdown in preseason? Either one of them.
They scored 3 points in the
That's what I
preseason, I believe. 3 points.
And the Bears went undefeated. What is your point?
I mean, come on. I mean, you can't muster more than 3 points accent. I mean, it wasn't like Justin Fields was going against ones a whole lot.
And hit your noise. Hit the noise.
I mean,
hit the failure noise.
Yeah, failure, fake news, whatever you want to hit.
The failure noise. Hit the noise.
Hit the championship noise.
Everything
crowd
is fake news.
Yeah. Everything coming out of Chad's mouth, I apologize to everybody on the show. Everything coming out of Chad's mouth right now. He was one of those Bears fans is like, we shouldn't have got rid of Justin Fields. Ugh.
Like Jay says here, that's a subject we'll get to. I thought he was actually pulling that. I thought he was making the comment that Pittsburgh was going to save their money to try and sign Dak for next year, but that isn't what it was all about.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah. You know Jerry Jones is going to screw this up somehow, some way.
So let's talk about the Cowboys. So right after CeeDee Lamb gets paid, gets his $34 million for 4 years, $100 million guaranteed. What happens the very next day? Jamar Chase shows up at practice in street clothes. So guess who's next in line? So here's the question. Is Cincinnati going to pay him? Or are they going to let him hold out? I say they aren't going to be able to let that string on. They got too many important games beginning of the season.
When you have a receiver like Jamar Chase, baby, show me the money, baby. Show me the money.
Wait a minute.
You were
the one saying just a week ago that all these high-priced diva wide receivers aren't worth the money. Now you're saying they are worth the money?
No, I didn't listen. I said some of them.
I think I said that.
Actually,
you sound like somebody else.
Whoa. Actually, Brett said that. I'm saying receivers are divas, but
you said they never. You said they don't win championships.
They don't. They don't.
Okay,
because the quarterback does. And who's their quarterback? Joe Burrow.
You know what they said?
Okay.
About Jamar Chase?
Okay.
Yeah, but you're the one who. I just find it
Ever
interesting
since
that now
Jamar
you're
Chase-
praising they got to pay him.
Oh, they got to pay him, baby. They got to pay him.
Ever since Jamar Chase got into the league, he's had it in for Justin Jefferson. Whether it's doing the gritty, whether it's anything, Jamar Chase has wanted to be recognized over Justin Jefferson. So rumor has it today that there is a possible contract in place, get this, that will pay Jamar Chase 1 cent more than Jefferson's contract. 1 cent.
They both played at LSU, by the way, so obviously there's some strong feelings there.
And even Jamar Chase has said that the gritty was originally his idea, not Justin Jefferson. So Don't tell me there ain't a little bit of
Cincinnati and Dallas just screwed this whole thing up. If they sign him 3 months ago, they saved themselves millions of dollars.
Oh,
They were
absolutely.
The first one to post
100%.
it, and then everybody else comes off of it. They cost themselves millions of dollars by trying to be cheap and trying to muscle these guys.
you
They're
know.
just a bunch
You know
of
what's
idiots.
going to happen to CD
Mike
Lamb?
Brown, and Jerry. Oh my word!
By week two, CD Lamb's going to have hamstring issues, something like that, because he's not in game shape. I don't care what you say. And what always happens when big name players hold out, they end up on the injury list. And so don't be surprised if you see CD Lamb for the first half of the season, game time decision because of a hamstring. I can see it coming already.
Unless he pulls the Emmitt Smith and takes him to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Jay says here.
It could happen.
Jay says here that he will never be a JJ or a Tyreek. And I'm not exactly sure if he's talking about.
Yeah, he's talking about Jamar, I think.
Yeah, he's talking about Chase.
Yeah. Has to be. And you know what? He may never be, but you've got to give Joe Burrow that threat. I definitely think he's got to have that threat.
I think that Justin Jefferson will never be a Jamar Chase because he's going to be saddled with whatever scrub the Vikings end up putting out there to try and throw the ball to him. In the meantime, Jamar Chase has got an amazing, fantastic, great quarterback to throw him the ball.
We knew this was coming.
It's a massive difference.
I tried to stay away
He's
from it,
trying to, and
Can I smoke a cigarette and just watch now?
and if you look at all the fantasy drafts,
Am I wrong?
Jefferson is dropping to the second half of the first round because exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, who's going to get him the ball?
Yeah. I mean, you got
Sam freaking Darnold.
It doesn't get any better next year with the Michigan kid coming back. It doesn't get any better. Not going to be any better. It's going to be trash heap 2.0. That's all it's going to be.
He's throwing some darts.
Yes, man.
Don't jinx our Bears, please. We've had enough misery. Don't jinx our Bears.
I just want to.
Just be nice. Just be nice. Yeah.
Screw it. Football guys, they've had it out for me forever, so I don't care.
The double doink. I mean, we can go on and on and on.
All the way.
I tell
The
you
rain in Miami.
Rex Grossman.
Yeah.
You guys asked for this because if you're gonna
give me
team
that
up
horn.
on me, it's coming, baby. Come on, everybody. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, guys. Take yourself off mute and join in. You know you want to.
As a Norwegian American, I take great offense
Yeah.
to that cultural appropriation
Yes.
mix.
All
That's
you
not
have to
just-
do is do a one-time, baby, and you're hooked.
Yeah.
No.
No.
It's-
I'm with
it's
Jay.
not
I like the horn. I like the Ricola horn better.
Yeah, I'm with Jay.
And-
Ricola.
It's not like that experiment you had with your college roommate. It's not gonna take. It's not gonna take.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about another interesting story. And you tell me how this is justified. Reddick has now reported for 1 day of practice for his new team. He's up over $4 million in fines. At what point, as a positional player, is he gonna? I mean, how do you recover from this?
Is this AB 2.0? I mean, is this CTE? I'm not really trying to be funny. I mean, it's just, is this fixing to be crash and burn? That's
Listen.
a lot of money. That's a
Who is it?
lot of money.
Who is it? Who is his agent? Who is advising him?
I don't know. Somebody
That's
really-
Probably,
Lam- Hannity.
probably Lamar Jackson's agent, which is his mom. It's probably her.
No, I mean,
That's
I'm serious.
crazy.
How does
Because of the CBA, they can't make that go away. It's in the CBA. Now they can build it into his deal if he ends up signing a deal where they give him extra money to pay off the fine to cover the fines, but you can't. The team he can report, and the team.
I mean,
just goes,
he hasn't
"No,
even
it's
played a
okay.
game."
We'll let it go. They
But
have
listen.
it sticks.
Listen, I do not put this on.
You can't
Hassan
reduce
Reddick.
the fine, Russell.
They can't.
No, they can't reduce it. They can do what Chad said and add it to his deal or something like that. But because of the collective bargaining agreement, I don't think they can. The fines are the fines.
It's in the CBA, so they have to stick to the fine. The only thing they can do is tack another $4 million and talk about hitting the salary cap, another $4 million to cover the fines.
But I put this at the feet of who? The New York Jets.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They created this problem.
somebody didn't do their homework, did they?
They didn't. If he left Philadelphia because they wouldn't give him a deal. If you're going to sign a guy like that, you have to sign him with the intent of giving him his deal.
Yeah.
That's stupidity. That is football 101.
You don't think they didn't have the phone to their ear from Philadelphia when they made the trade, and Philadelphia says, hey, man, this guy wants a new deal. We're not going to be able to sign him. Do you want to trade for him? I mean, they had to know that on day one, he was not playing for them unless he had a deal.
The Jets cannot get out of their own way ever. I mean, I wish we gotta get that clip just so we can use it. And the New York Jets select tight end. Oh no! Like because that's just the Jets. Rinse and repeat.
I understand. I get all that, but at the end of the day, this guy's got to take care of his money, and he is not taking care of his money.
No,
this is reckless. The $4.3 million in fines. That's reckless.
This away. This
that's
stupid.
reckless.
Both parties are stupid. The Jets started it, but he is just escalating it to a whole nother.
Oh, he's compounding it. So clearly he fits in the Jet organization.
And eventually, if the Jets are willing to re-sign him and they give him a deal where they padded $4 million to pay the fine, then they were willing to pad the $4 million on a new contract. So why the hell does I mean this just makes no sense?
Why did just like Dallas and in Cincinnati, just pay him up front and don't play these games. It's just cost yourself money.
This is complete Jets. You sign a guy from Philadelphia who won a new contract, they wouldn't give it to him.
and just think about how bad that is.
Well,
We're Bears fans, and we get to knock their franchise. That shows how bad it is.
And they can't figure that out. They bring in Aaron Rodgers, the player GM. He brings in Nathaniel Hackett, dumpster fire. He brings in all these old receivers, Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, that are past their prime. They allow Aaron Rodgers to hijack. You want to talk about a hot seat? The Jets better win, otherwise Robert Saleh he's dead in the water.
Yeah,
he's gone. He is gone. So and he really hasn't had any control over what's happening because Aaron Rodgers has basically said, well, you got to get me this guy. You got to get me this guy. You got to get me Nathaniel Hackett because he'll do what I tell him. And it just doesn't work that way. Aaron Rodgers is not a general manager. You can argue whether he's a great quarterback, a good quarterback, you like him, you hate him. I don't care about that. He's not a general manager. He's not. And he has taken the Jets just like last year. He does all these things. He plays 4 plays. Achilles smoked. Jets season over. Well, they better win.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a son, or they'd have forced him to draft him.
Right. Just the craziness of all that they're doing. Can you imagine being a football fan in New York this year? You get all this hype behind the Jets, and even the national media hyping the Jets up, and they do have a good roster. Do not get me wrong.
Yeah.
But is a 41 or 2-year-old, I think he's 41, Aaron Rodgers, 42. Aaron Rodgers going to be able to be, what was he, MVP last in 21? Am I right about that? Or yeah,
21, 22, yeah.
So can he recreate that after blowing his Achilles out? And I mean, maybe, but if they don't, and things go south in a hurry, and they open up with San Francisco on Monday night, I mean, that could get ugly from the start.
And they did not improve their offensive line whatsoever. And they're playing San Francisco and Bosa and the gang the first game. I mean,
to me, the Jets just they can never get out of their own way, and they, I get it. They wanted to bring Aaron Rodgers, and they wanted to be relevant, so they bring Aaron Rodgers in, but then they allow him to hijack and now. Oh, Hassan Reddick, is he a good linebacker? Absolutely. But you bring him from Philadelphia because he wanted a contract and they wouldn't give it to him. What do you think he's going to do with you? He's not going to say, oh, you're a better organization. You have Super Bowl aspirations. I don't want a contract with you guys. I mean, come on, man. Like, I don't even get it.
So let's end this week's show. But how can you not end the show talking a little Jerry Jones?
Oh,
so we got Jerry Jones comes on and
Skeletor.
He comes on and says he's one of the top 5 GMs in the National Football League.
And
he haven't won. He's had more coaches since Jimmy Johnson than he does playoff wins. And what's that been? Almost 30 years.
Yeah.
And so your answer to doing nothing in the offseason to better your team, your answer is to bring back Ezekiel Elliott to the backfield. Then you go out and Delvin Cook, who last year signed a contract with the Jets and couldn't even crack the starting lineup as one of the top flight free agents and pretty much spent the season on the bench. Jerry Jones thinks, hey, let's bring him into the mix. So now your starting backfield for Dallas Cowboys heading into this season, Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook, and I don't even know who the third guy is. So at what point in time does Jerry Jones realize that he is not the smartest?
I said this to you guys earlier, and I'll say that I said this earlier, and I'll say this again. Jerry Jones is that GM that hasn't played fantasy football for 10 years, and he looks out on the wire and he sees Dalvin Cook and says, "Dalvin Cook's available. Let's bring him in." Like Ezekiel, let's bring him. Let's retread him. I mean, if I was a Dallas Cowboy fan, and
I love Dalvin Cook when he was in his prime with Minnesota, but the guy, even from the days of Florida State, he had a bum shoulder. And there towards the end of his stint with the Vikings, every time he took a big hit, he was questionable for the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And missed time. So I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand the signing whatsoever.
Their other running backs are Rico Suave Dowdle and the minuscule, teeny tiny little Deuce Vaughn.
Hey, let's roll. Let's roll.
They're going to be throwing it 45 times a game, easy.
They're going to have to.
Vince Vaughn, if Ed measures his height, he's 10 foot tall.
When you got 12-inch soles.
Oh yeah.
When you got 12-inch soles on the bottom of your shoes, I can see 7 feet.
Yeah.
I like I said, the Dallas Cowboys, I don't know. I see guys in the national media. I mean, some of them, a lot of them have Dallas winning the division again. I mean, maybe. And I mean, put Jay's comment up here. If there wasn't a salary cap, he'd be the Steinbrenner. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I mean, let's face it. No matter who your team is, that's the reason I love the NFL, because of the salary cap, because it does keep all teams relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, you see every year a team that was not very good last year, Houston Texans, the following year, playoffs. You know, that's such a rarity.
Yep. And
Such a
this
rarity.
season, it's going to be the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. I mean, let's hope that's the case as a Bears fan. But, I mean, you just see that every single year in football. You get turnover, and there's always a chance for your team, you know, new season, Breeze, new season. In baseball, look how many teams walk into baseball and they're just like, oh, gee, like, how would you like to be a White Sox fan?
Yeah, the NFL needs to thank the great George Halas for that.
Yeah.
Because Pete Rozelle went to the Maras, and they went to George Halas, and they said, listen, we're going to sign a TV deal that splits it amongst all the teams. One deal for everybody.
Hey, Sandy.
Hey, Sandy, good to see you back on the comment line. Missed
But
you.
yeah, I mean,
How you doing, Miss Sandy?
It's one of those deals where I think the salary cap has made the NFL what it is.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely has. It's why it's the juggernaut. It's why it's
unless you're someone like the Denver Broncos that trade your whole franchise for Russell Wilson. I mean,
well, I've always said this. I've always said this about Jerry Jones. The positive about Jerry Jones is also his negative. So there's nothing he won't do to make sure that he puts the best product out there to give his team a chance to win. The problem is the one thing he won't do is fire himself and let somebody else handle that and just provide the cash and let somebody else do that. I mean, you thought maybe his son might have found a way to deal with him by now, but clearly he hasn't.
No. Well, he said today he has no intention of doing that because he's, like I said, he's one of the top 5 GMs in the game.
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere. I did see him say that he's not going anywhere.
You know, it just, you know, I don't know. Russell, I don't know if he's a drunk.
His ego is just,
but his ego gets in his way so bad. I mean, look at some of the comments he made in the press, you know, prior to signing CD and, oh, they want to be Cowboys. You know, we'll get it done. Or with Dak, there's no need to get it done right now. Do you think Dak's thinking that same way?
With the kind of money that goes on these days, they don't care who they play for. Just give them the money.
If I'm Dak Prescott, I'm thinking one way and one way only. I'm going to play my butt off this season. I'm going to put up some gross numbers no matter what happens. I'm getting the hell out of Dallas. Pittsburgh would be a great landing spot for Dak Prescott.
Yeah, he excellent
with that defense, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you want to go to a franchise that has not had the recent debacles that Dallas
Minnesota?
Has? Yeah, Minnesota. You take Dak Prescott right now, Ed. Don't even lie.
Oh, yeah.
Minnesota.
He looked in that number 4 Vikings jersey. That's
Minnesota signed too many big contracts in their position players because for once in a lifetime they actually get the chance to have rookie contracts. So I don't see them turning around.
But I'm just saying, if there was an opportunity in Minnesota, you'd take him.
Oh, well, yeah.
So what I'm saying is there's opportunities out there for Dak, and I do think there is something to be said that star on the side of their helmets. I think when it comes to playoff time, I think that star gets tighter. I think it compresses their brain, puts a lot of pressure on them. You know, anybody like that.
The Raiders would probably open the pocketbook for him.
You know, Jay, I don't think the Colts, because I think they got Anthony Richardson. I think they're going to stick with him, but I mean, I think
that kid's gonna play 7 games this year. He's gonna spend the rest of the time on the injury list.
I kind of feel, yeah.
I mean, he's
so
gonna
guys,
it's gonna be.
We covered a lot tonight. College, UFL, NFL.
We had a guest.
We covered it.
We had a guest that opened the show up. I mean,
we had a guest. I still don't know what the hell happened there. Wait till I talk to him after the show.
Yeah.
He's got a
But,
little explaining to do, hijacking my show like that.
yeah, and it was a heck of a guest. But for those of you listening and for those of you that watch, you can check us out on Facebook, The Bottom Line, on YouTube. You can catch our show on YouTube live or after, and also on X. Follow us on all of those. We hope we're doing a good job for you. Follow us on that. Give us a like. And we got some other groups. Brett's going to mention that are big supporters of Bottom Line. So take it away, Brett.
Yes, big shout out to Southeastern Conference fans, SEC Unfiltered, NFL fans, NFL Power fans, and NFL Retro. Hope I got everybody. Really appreciate y'all giving us a shot and letting us share our podcast in your groups. And again, I can't thank you enough, and I'll definitely try to get you some new members. And also on our YouTube channel, real quick, it is The Bottom Line Podcast.
Yes, that's correct.
And once you do that, just look for our logo, and we'll be there. So, having said that, great weekend lineup of football for opening week. So catch all the games. We'll do a recap next week and talk about the following week. We're going to have a hell of a lot to talk about. When you're covering college, you're covering the UFL, you're covering the NFL, there ain't enough time. But you know us, we're going to get as much in as we can. And can't wait to see you next week. Until then.
And that's the bottom line.